Hey, Thrand here, and I'm here with the famous Landsknecht Dagger, famous for the Landsknecht mercenaries, which are famous German mercenaries, pattern their fighting style after the Swiss pikemen. Not only did they do that, but they're also famous for fighting with pikes. They're famous for fighting with the great Zweihanders, and this would have been their backup weapon. And if you look at the detail of the weapon, and how outrageous and detailed it is and flamboyant, it mimics their dress, because they dressed very flamboyant, brightly colored. They wore arming pantaloons and arming doublets, and they'd actually cut slits in them and pull the other colored fabric through, so you could see all these different colors, and it was beautiful. So their dagger would also mimic this type of style. This is based on one completely out of a museum, a replica, exact in every way. It's made out of high carbon steel, and it has a beautiful thrusting profile. This dagger is not is balanced for a thruster. It's not blade heavy at all. It weighs 12 ounces. The overall length is 16.5 inches long. You can see here as it comes up to my elbow. It's 41.25 centimeters, I believe. The blade length is 11 inches, so it's almost a complete foot. As most people think, most medieval daggers were a foot long. It's about a foot long, which is perfect. It's exactly what you need to get into niches under the arm to get all the way through. I mean, if you're trying to get into plate, which they did fight plate with this. If they got in a pinch or they were fighting with their pike and somebody got in on them, or with any of their weapons, they used partisans, they used halberds to back up the pikemen. They would pull this out. Even if you were a doppel soldier or a double soldier, pretty much, or double man. That means you were one of the people who might have been more lightly armored and been in the back. You would still have one of these. I mean, this was their main backup, no matter what weapon you were using to assist, whether it be a halberd or a partisan. The blade is also 2.8 centimeters wide, or about, I guess, 1 1/8 inches. Its actual profile taper is straight until it gets to the end, so it's very strong and sturdy. So it's not a long point so much that it would break. So you're not going to break the tip off easily. If this thing proves well and going through gambesons, where I think that's what a lot of times it would be against, is other Landsknecht, which a lot of them wore the arming doublets and the arming pantaloons and what have you, then it would be very valuable, especially going into the niches, which would be even more lightly armored than the armor, the actual plate itself that they'd be up against. So the blade thickness, I believe, is what is it, 3/16 of an inch. Which is 0.45 centimeters, I think. But anyway, it's a beautiful dagger. It has a very small fuller that's just an elegant little add-on to it. It has a position here. I don't care what anybody says about how it just being a flamboyant style. My finger can easily loop in here to add power to a cut, so it doesn't slip and the wrist doesn't give. So you get to see possibly cut with this very well. I think that's probably maybe part of the design on this. The pre-script, a lot of people like to grab it with the thumb in this kind of position for fencing and so on, which this was from the 15th to 16th century. So of course they knew of all these styles, and this dagger could have been used in that manner. It's got a nice place for your thumb here. The thumb won't slip. If you flip it over into the rondel grip, you could even put your thumb behind it with the type of pommel it has, and it has that same kind of non-slip grip. So there might have been a little bit more to this design than just being a beautiful design, which it is on top of it. It reflects their style. And I mean, I think overall it's a good blade. Just holding it in my hand, you feel like you could go hunting with it. You can use it for anything. You can use it for a modern utility blade if you wanted to. It's very sturdy, very durable. Everything's solid. Today we're going to go out and we're going to test it against gambesons, like 30 layers of cloth and padding, ballistics gel. We shall test it in every way we can, and maybe even do some cutting with it, see how that works, and actually how well it does cut. I mean, can you put enough power to it to actually do some damage with it? I would say a lightly armored opponent, this thing would be lethal. I believe the edge is beautiful. I think if we can impart enough power, it'll cut through dang near anything. It's got a beautiful sheath as well. I want to bring that up before I change the subject. Elegant design. Very elegant. Very hard sheath. Nice to keep your blade in, because it's a very razor-sharp blade. It cuts very well. It's not meant to be a razor blade, like to shave with. So it's more of a dagger. But I think it'll cut very well. I really do. I'm highly expecting a lot out of it. So let's go ahead and get started and see what happens. Alright, I've devised a test for the Landsknecht, and what I've done is in the time period this was used, gambeson and arming pantaloons and arming jackets were used regularly. They were actually worn by the Swiss pikemen and by the Landsknecht. So, I mean, they could have a full 30 layers of cloth. They like to wear lots of cloth. So, the other thing is, you would have less cloth, let's say, under the gussets of plate armor, like inside the arms. Any areas where you might be able to get in, you would have gambeson. But this is 30 layers of gambeson, or 30 layers of cloth and padding. So what we've got here is extremely thick. You wouldn't want that under your arm. But we want to see if they could possibly make it through each other's arming doublets with this thrust. This would be an extreme test. We've got it over our 20% ballistic shelter. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and use a rondel grip so I can get the most power, because I'm going to need that to generate it to go through this. Clean through, all the way out the back side. Try that one more time, make sure it wasn't a fluke.
I think I'm hearing you hit the barrel underneath.
Huh?
I think you're hitting the barrel underneath.
I am. I'm hitting the barrel all the way underneath. It actually stuck in the barrel.
Turn it a little bit so we can see that it's poking out.
It's
Yeah,
stuck
look at
in
that.
the barrel. That's how far it went through and into the barrel.
That's beautiful.
Most certainly, and that amount of cloth is nothing to laugh at. Most swords would have trouble cutting through this. With anything other than maybe a tip shot from a heavy bladed sword, you're not cutting through that many layers of gambeson. It's just not happening. Where we have our gambeson on the bottle filled with water, and the whole concept behind this, it gives like a body, and it can move. Let's say if I take too much force to go through this gambeson and don't have enough acceleration and it's not able to slide through or cut through easily enough as it punctures, it's going to knock it off. So it may not even go through because of that. So under those conditions, knowing that and used to how much force it takes to do this, I'm going to choose to opt to use this type of grip to hold it properly, and I'm going to come up with the most powerful thrust you can from this position, which would be coming up this way. Whether it be up into an arm this way or into a thigh or a gut, you can come up, but I'm not going to try a reach type thing because this would probably not generate enough force or speed to do it, just punching that way. Maybe, maybe not. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go this way and see what we can do. Ah! Ah! We have gone all the way through and out the side of the jug. So it definitely made it all the way through our gambeson.
That was brutal.
I'm impressed. I'll try again, even with a hole in it. That lowers the pressure, makes it much more difficult, but let's see what happens. I might even try punching into it, see if we can do it. It was able to do it. This dagger is having no problem going through this material. I would say it's perfectly designed for it. It's working excellent. Through this many layers of material, that is impressive. Extremely impressive. This would definitely take out your fellow Landsknecht. Most certainly. Alright, we're here with our famous phone book test. And what we got here is we got 4 of them. They've been soaked as normal. And the reason I'm going with opting to go with 4, it's been very impressive so far. The only thing that's even gone through 3 phone books and possibly more, we didn't have a 4th phone book, was the Edinburgh Castle Damascus blade. That was a very impressive blade. This one, being short, stout, a little shorter than it, it seems to be doing even more impressively to me for what it's designed for. So let's go ahead and see what we can do. I'm going to try to see how far I can go through and how many books I can make it with. Ah! Wow, that's in there. Let's see what we get.
Definitely 2.
Definitely 2. It is a little bit of a fatter blade. Definitely goes through gambeson.
You know, long books are really tough, y'all.
Oh, most certainly, most certainly.
They're really tough.
It's the equivalent of cutting wet rolled newspaper, but you're thrusting through it as a protection. What happens? I'm going to give it everything I got to see how deep we can go in there. Ah! Ah! Whoa, that is in there. I'm sorry, but I say we've gone into the 4th book, possibly. Have to pull it out and look. It made it all the way through the 3rd. It's at the very tip here. The point is right there, so. At least as good as the Edinburgh Castle. I don't think I can even pull that out easily. That's in there. And they say phone books, correct? Are dang near ballistic armor.
Almost.
Not soaked wet, but dry, stuffed in corridors are supposed to have been used to stop rounds from rifles before.
Well, I'll tell you what, the wet ones are certainly a testament to how tough these daggers are, that they're stabbing so deep and so well into them without bending or...
Oh, certainly. We got the point right there. I can feel it.
That's awesome. That is a great knife, or a great dagger.
All right. The dagger has performed exceptionally well in thrusting in every aspect. Now I want to see if it can cut. Of course it has an edge. Any blade can cut. Let's see how well.
Wow!
Yes! Clean through 1-inch rope. I'm extremely impressed. That's free hanging 1-inch rope and it's sliced clean through. So for a dagger that's made for thrusting, if you had to cut, everybody knows how hard it is to cut rope like this. That is impressive. I'm sorry. Free hanging. There's no weight at the end or anything like that. Just free hanging rope.
That was awesome.
Most certainly. I'm impressed. This is equivalent to cutting through rolled wet newspaper for sure. I mean, that's impressive. So I highly recommend the Landsknecht. I don't think anybody who has this in their collection, especially if they know the famous Landsknecht mercenaries, is going to think this is not a prized possession in their collection. So I hope you all enjoyed our little episode today, testing out the Landsknecht sent to us by Medieval Shop. Be sure and like us down below, subscribe, tell people about our channel. Remember that Medieval Shop does have a blade deal going on. If you buy 2 blades at the current time, mention our name, the Thrand channel, Thrand channel, you can request a blade of your choice. Don't actually put it in there, but request a blade of your choice, and they will include it free of charge in the shipment. If you're in the U.S., which I think it's free in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan, if I'm not mistaken, the shipment, but in U.S. it's like only about 50 USD for shipment, and they'll include the extra blade, sword, what have you, as long as it's a cheaper blade than the other 2. But anyway, be sure and go by and like us on Facebook, the Thrand and Eldgrim's Well of Remembrance. That's our like page on Facebook, and we also have a closed group, which is a Thane Thrand YouTube boat crew. If you request to join, we'll surely let you in. We have people of all walks of life who know everything there pretty much about history and different eras and have different specialties, and they can even help you with such things if you're a reenactor or you're a historian or into a minor historian. Be sure and help us out on Patreon if you can. That's www.patreon.com/Thrand. And you can donate monthly to us there, or if you'd like to make a one-time donation, you could go to Thane, or you could use our thanethrand@yahoo.com PayPal ID, which is also an email address through PayPal. You can either email us there, tell us what's going on, or you can send us a payment that way. Or also you could contact me at thanethrand@gmail.com if you'd like to just inquire about maybe sending us items, like if you make items, if you're a weaponsmith, what have you. So let us know if you have a company or something you want us to test your stuff out next. Let us know. Hope you all enjoyed the episode. I highly recommend the Landsknecht. It's a beautiful dagger. It's highly impressive. It's held up to all this. It's not gotten weak, loose. Nothing's, I mean, it's just beautiful. I love the flamboyant style of it. Hope you all enjoyed it. Farewell.